Witches and Wizards of AskReddit, you gain control of J.K. Rowling's Twitter account for one day. What unnecessary piece of information do you add to the Harry Potter lore? Story 1. Witches and wizards have microscopic beings called magichlorians that live within their bodies, which grant them access to magic. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Lord Tom the Riddle? I thought not. It's not a story the Ministry of Magic would tell you. It's a Death Eater's legend. Lord Tom was a dark wizard of the coast, so powerful and so wise he could use the wand to influence the magichlorians to create life. He had such a knowledge of the wizard side that he could even keep the ones he cared about from dying. The wizard side of magic is a pathway to many abilities some would consider to be unnatural. He became so powerful, the only thing he was afraid of was losing his power, which eventually, of course, he did. Unfortunately, he taught his apprentice everything he knew. Then his apprentice killed him in his sleep. Ironic. He could save others from death, but not him. Story 2. Voldemort doesn't have a butthole after his resurrection. He's smooth like a Ken doll down there. Story 3. Hagrid shaves all of his body hair from the neck down. Alternatively, Hagrid has no hair from the neck down. He doesn't need to shave. He's just totally smooth, like a porpoise. Story 4. I don't think I could top the post she made about wizards disappearing their poo with magic before muggles invented toilets. Story 5. The Forbidden Forest is forbidden because Dumbledore and Hagrid have an illegal grow-op hidden inside. The wizarding school is just a front to launder money. And nobody is actually at a magic school at all. They're just stoned AF. You're a dealer, Harry. Follow the spiders. That'll lead you to the meth lab. Story 6. I would make it clear the cursed child is not canon. Go one step further and declare that it is an in-universe book written by Rita Skeeter. This is brilliant and would make so much more sense than that absolute dumpster fire did. Story 7. There is a Wizarding World version of Magic the Gathering called Muggles the Congregation. I'll tap 3 to play my Planewalker Gavin, the accountant, triggering the effect off my Derek from HR, adding 1+1+1 counter to every office worker on the battlefield. I end my turn. Story 8. When you're using the invisibility cloak, you're not actually invisible. You're naked. They just choose to ignore you as to not make things awkward. That explains why Fudge and Malfoy sent Hagrid straight to Azkaban without a trial in the book, when they walk into Hagrid's hut while Harry and Ron are hiding. All right, so we're just going to give him a warn. Why are there 2 kids hurdled in the corner? The frig, Hagrid. Azkaban it is. Story 9. Hagrid's 3-headed dog Fluffy and Filch's cat Mrs. Norris were lovers. Story 10. All Hogwarts students are required to take a sex ed course. The teacher? Hagrid. Story 11. A scene after the Deathly Hallows ending, revealing paramedics pulling a limp 11-year-old Harry Potter from the cupboard under the stairs and resuscitating him from carbon monoxide poisoning due to a leaky furnace. Young Harry says, I had the most wonderful dream. I was a wizard. Uncle Vernon exclaims, you're going to pay for the rescue wagon, and you probably broke the furnace, too. Aunt Petunia calls him an insufferable child. Dudley laughs while eating an entire pie, calling Harry a wanker. Story 12. Harry wakes up in Hogwarts and everyone has gone home for Christmas vacation when he has to defend the school from being robbed by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. Story 13. Dudley Dursley has a Muggle-born daughter. She gets her Hogwarts letter and Dudley reconnects with Harry so he can learn all about magic and be the opposite of his parents. Story 14. I'd give Harry another son and name them Remus Rubius so that Lupin and Hagrid got fricking acknowledgement for having an effect on Harry throughout his life. Story 15. From the early 2000s, numerous children have rejected their Hogwarts acceptance letters in favor of the continued use of technology. I figure if an 11-year-old today discovered that magic meant no more Fortnite or memes, they'd just rip the paper up. Story 16. Draco has a son named Bako, who's in Hufflepuff and later owns a small bakery where he sells high-quality edibles. Story 17. There is a fantastic beast called Jar Jar Binks that is very important and that was present during the famous battle between Dumbledore and Grindelwald. He's on me! Pew pew! Story 18. Ron Weasley has 6 siblings. They're all Horcruxes for the one true Dark Lord, Arthur Weasley. Story 19. Inside each golden snitch is a Ferrero Rocher. Story 20. Ollivander couldn't actually talk to wands. He was proper mental and everyone just kind of played along. Story 21. Harry always kind of smelled like pickle juice, but no one had the guts to mention it. If you're enjoying this video, please give us a like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next video. Thanks, and hope you're having a wonderful day. Story 22. Ginny actually died in the Battle of Hogwarts, and Fred has been using Polyjuice Potion to frick with Harry for decades. Story 23. Luna Lovegood and George Weasley have a daughter who later becomes a teacher known as Miss Frizzle. Story 24. I'd admit I didn't actually have a plan when I wrote them and made up new things whenever I wrote myself into a corner and then made up convoluted reasons to explain it later. Story 25. In the Chamber of Secrets, I wrote that Harry would have to regrow 33 bones in his arm. Some of you have pointed out that this was an error on my part since the human arm only has 30 bones in it. This was not a mistake. Harry has 3 extra bones in it because all wizards have 6 fingers. #retcon, #deal with it. Story 26. Terry Crews will replace Dumbledore as headmaster. Professor Terry Elanius Crews, headmaster, and also founder of the Order of the Spice. Story 27. Hagrid is actually Hermione from the future. Story 28. If he had turned evil, Dark Lord Ron would have been the single most powerful wizard in the entire setting and would have conquered the entire world and ruled for 10,000 years. Despite his unfathomable knowledge of the dark arts and his long reign, he still would have never lived to see the Chudley Cannons win a league championship again. Story 29. First off, I would tweet, subscribe to PewDiePie, cause she hates his guts. Story 30. Ian the Death Eater now gets his own romantic comedy. Story 31. That what Slytherins were doing at the first part of the Battle of Hogwarts, their table was empty, it's heavily implied they deserted, was rounding up everyone who had nowhere to go. That they used the Room of Requirement to keep the younger students safe, guarding the entrance, wands drawn, prepared to fight if necessary. It would be too hard to fight their families directly. Instead, they protected those who had no part in the horrors around them. It was a way for them to protect their family ties and still help. Save face, but with no guilt. Because as that sweet little first-year Hufflepuff was grabbed by the sleeve of her robe by a 7th-year Slytherin, she felt everything but scared. This was no Death Eater. This was a friend. I know my house. If there's one thing they didn't do, it's nothing. Story 32. Ron Weasley went back in time and became Dumbledore. That's how he knows everything. Story 33. Arthur Weasley has a collection of Muggle sex toys that he somehow has no idea how to use. Well, that's all we have for today. Please leave your stories in the comments and, hey, have a wonderful day.